So I want to thank them. We also have volunteers, Barbara Bea, Tracy Davis, Iris Dunn, Lenora Jefferson, Janice Starr, and Karen Willens. Thank you so much. Maintenance and operations staff of the school district, I'm indeed grateful for, and the preparation of the school. It looks wonderful today. It's sparkling. So I want to thank everyone. Thank you. Custodian, Mr. Bobby Shepard. Thank you. At this particular time, I'm looking for our Roxy unit. I think they're not here. Okay, yet. Okay, there must have been an issue there. But I'd like to begin immediately with the national anthem, Ms. Michelle Jackson. Thank you, ma'am. All please rise for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets were glad, the bombs bursting in air, through the night, that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Howard Copeland, who will lead us and lift every voice and sing. All please rise. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of faith and
past has taught us. Sing a song full of love that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. So leave the road we trod, bitter chastening rod, felt in the days when unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers died. We have come over our way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered, while from the gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the light gleam of our star is cast. God of our wearies, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on our way, yet with a steady night led us into the light. Keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land.
Thank you, Mr. Crossland. It's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you, if you don't know him already, Dr. Darrell L. Armstrong, pastor, Shiloh Baptist Church.
First, giving honor to God Almighty, no matter what religious tradition you may claim, I believe that we have a creator, and I greet you in that name. To Dr. Earl and all of the educational leadership here in our great district, Dr. Rosenberg, principal here at Columbus, formerly Columbus, a man, soon to be Dr. Crosby Copeland. Would you Crosby Copeland. To our elected officials, federal, state, county, municipal, give me for not claiming all names. Protocol certainly is already established in the GRIT program. Certainly want to acknowledge the first Black Congresswoman from the state of New Jersey, the Honorable Diana Ross. All elected officials. I want to make my remarks very brief. This is a great day for Trenton. This is a great day for Mercer County. This is a great day for New Jersey. But really, this is a great day for God. And I say that, a great day for God. Amen. I say that because this man whose pictures are adorn us behind us, and whose name we celebrate today, I believe if he were here, he was here amongst all of his greatest accomplishments, that he is a child of the Almighty and that he is a believer in a man of faith. And he taught his children to be people of faith, his family. I want to acknowledge Mother Rose Copeland. God bless you, man. Love you all tonight. Great day for God's kingdom today. I simply want to say that as we look at Dr. Copeland's accomplishments that are a veteran, service to his country, service to his community, service to his family, the great thing that I believe that he did was to educate young minds. And at the Shiloh Baptist Church, we are grateful for his leadership, and not just his membership, but his leadership within our congregation. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge all other leaders of faith traditions in this room. I saw Pastor Taylor here and other men and women of faith. God bless you. I would leave you simply with what one of the greatest admonitions of Scripture is, that thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy might, with all thy being. In the Old Testament, that text is part of the Jewish Shema, but in the New Testament, it is the words that Jesus reiterates when he is asked, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus himself says, the greatest commandment is to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy might, and with all thy mind. I believe there's no greater gift we can give any young person than the gift of learning and education, development, and cultivation of their minds. And Dr. Crosby Copeland was one of the greatest educators, not only in this community, not only in this county, not only in this state, but across the United States of America. And as I close, I simply say, as a native of California, I'm proud to be an adopted son of New Jersey. And I say that because it was in this state that two women named Hedgepeth Williams families decided to challenge the Trent Board of Education. It was in this state that the Tuskegee of the North, the Bordentown Manual Training School, was founded in northern Burlington County, not too far from here. And it is in this state that the first Black principal of Trenton Central High School, Dr. Crosby Copeland, Bill Brown, and you love it to life. Let the church say amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Inspiring words. It's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you my boss, Superintendent of all schools in Trenton, Mr. James Earl. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenberg. Thank you to you and your team. At this time, I just want to recognize and read a proclamation from the county executive. It says, proclamation by the county executive recognizing Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. Elementary School. Whereas Mercer County recognizes and honors individuals and organizations who contribute outstanding service to the children of Mercer County. And whereas Mercer County joins the Trenton Public Schools in celebrating the newly named Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. Elementary School at a ribbon cutting ceremony on August 30th, 2022. And whereas Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. Elementary School was selected to be the new name of the former Columbus Elementary School to honor a highly respected educator and leader in the Trenton community. And whereas Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr., a Trenton native and a product of the Trenton Public Schools, served as a teacher, vice principal, athletic coach in the Trenton Public Schools before becoming the first African-American principal of Trenton Central High School, where he was credited with reestablishing a peaceful atmosphere conducive to learning, and then serving as superintendent of Trenton Public Schools for 8 years. And whereas Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. was active in his community as a parishioner at Shiloh Baptist Church, life member and past president of the Urban League of Metropolitan Trenton, Trenton NAACP, and Trenton Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, as well as a life member of the National Education Association and the New Jersey Education Association, receiving many awards and citations for his achievements in education. And whereas the legacy of Dr. Crosby Copeland, who extended himself above and beyond for Trenton Public Schools and the city of Trenton, is reflective of the values we wish to instill in children in our community. Now, therefore, I, Brian Hughes, Mercer County Executive, do hereby congratulate the Trenton Public Schools on the newly named Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. Elementary School and wish the school's faculty, staff, and students nothing but success in the years to come. Brian Hughes, Mercer County Executive. So as so many have said before me, welcome to Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. Elementary School. I want to thank the planning committee, Mr. Rosenberg and the team for coming together, and my role was just to make sure that he invited anyone who was special to this event. And to make sure everyone had an opportunity to come in and witness what we were about to accomplish. I want to thank the board for setting this as one of the new superintendent's major priorities as I walk in the door. Giving me the opportunity to experience my first renaming of a school and its purpose, not just one school, but two schools. We get to do this twice. What a great, great opportunity for me. And I feel blessed just personally because I've been able to walk in his shoes. So I served as principal for 3 years at Trenton Central High School, 2006 to 2009. That's why I learned about him as a principal. This opportunity and being a part of the renaming committee actually gave me the chance to learn about who he was as a man. And that's critically important to me because no matter what type of work we do sitting in these seats, we impact people. And we have to always remember that. That was taught to me from people who were in Trenton who knew him. And I want to continue that work, walking in his shoes as superintendent, having the greatest impact I can possibly have in my time here. So excited to be standing here before you. And I want to thank the members of the committee. I was able to sit in that process, screening and selecting, and wow, I don't remember the number of candidates, but it was numbers and numbers of pages. We were able to read about the accomplishments of so many great people in this area. We selected two. We read about and learned about scores of people. So it's really, really a great process. So I stand before you, and we're proud to be naming this school after someone who gave so much to the students in Trenton and the community, Dr. Crosby Copeland, Jr. I want to congratulate the family and just thank you for allowing us to be a part of this great, great opportunity. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. It's my pleasure at this particular point to introduce to you our board president of the Trenton Public Schools, Ms. Yolanda Marrero Lopez, who is not able to be here, unfortunately. So, certainly, we do have another important member of the board that my pleasure to introduce to you today, our Vice President, Mr. Gerald Chua. Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Dr. I won't charge you to the hard way. Appreciate you. You know, Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. said, hey, Sean, hey, family, God bless you. He said, keep striving for excellence, no effort is wasted. Little by little, you will soon get closer to the right way, to the higher skills, to superior performance, to success, and to happiness. Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr., teacher, school administrator, superintendent, and community leader. I think that right there says it all about Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. And one of the reasons why we're naming a school after Dr. Crosby Copeland, because of all of his accomplishments that he has had in his lifetime. Being here in the city of Trenton as a student at Trenton Central High School, going on to Grambling State University of Louisiana on a athletic scholarship, scholar athlete, both academic and on the football field. And then coming back to the city of Trenton, which he loved, to be a teacher, to be an administrator, to be a coach, to come back and give back to kids, and then ultimately becoming the superintendent of Trenton Public Schools. Is that not a testimony to the legacy of Dr. Crosby Jr.? But not only that, it's a legacy to all these young men that are standing, these Catholic men that are standing behind, these young men that are standing behind these chapters right here. These young men have an awesome opportunity to be just like Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. He set the example, he set the legacy, he set the stage, and those are the shoulders that we stand on today. I'm not going to be long. He was actually long. I'm going to close this down. But I come here on behalf of Trenton Water then as vice president. I was nominally elected vice president. Yolanda Marrero Lopez is our president. Got two board members in the back that I've seen so far today. Gene Bowie, God bless you, my brother. Gene Bowie, past president, Gene Bowie, chair of our Oceans Committee. Happy Daniels, man. God bless you. Past president, chair of our curriculum committee on the PACE committee, and worked heavily on the policy committee. Austin Edwards, a new member, Sasa, a new member coming back to us from many years ago as a past president, appointed by our mayor, Sierra. Julie Wickham, and then who was the chair of our facilities committee that chaired the renaming committee along with myself, Mr. James Earl. God bless you, Mr. James. So you have some shoulders to stand on, and you have a lot of work to be done in our district, but God be the glory you were doing that work. So I want to thank on behalf of the board and on behalf of the community work that's been done. The superintendent explained the process that we went through. Thank you so much, Sean, your family, and everyone who is here. God bless you. And everyone enjoy this festivities today, the ceremony, dedication, because it's well worth the time today to create a legacy for our students and our parents to look up to, that they can be superintendent of schools in Trenton, New Jersey. They have eyes on the prize, and they can do it as well. God bless you. Thank you, Vice President Trueheart. It's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you our mayor here in Trenton, Mr. Reed Gustior. Welcome. Before it speaks, we do have a couple of cars that are blocking exits. If you have a Honda, a silver Honda, and a Nissan, please remove your cars so that folks can leave. You're blocking the exits. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. This is a great day for Trenton, not only because the city now owns the school system $24 million. I was going to bring you a check. And it's great always to see our good friend Doug Palmer, our last great mayor. I'm just glad Dr. Copeland wouldn't be here because he would have really made sure we paid up on time. And as one educator mentioned that he was the Muhammad Ali of educators because he was fighting for the kids of Triton every single day. That while he was a teacher, while he was a principal, and while he was superintendent. He was a giant when he walked in the room. His presence was always known. But he was also just a great mentor. And it's fitting that the Kappas are all out here in all force because he took pride in his community. And he was in every event that I've seen up until his passing last year was too early for all of us. And I see one of his football students, John Day, and Andrew Bobbitt, although Andrew Bobbitt used to get in a lot of trouble when he was the principal. But just all the young people that went through the Trenton school system can attribute so many memories and so many mentor opportunities that Dr. Copeland brought to them. And we honor him. This is just such a fitting name for this school, Sean and Rose, that you should be really proud. And I'm sure he's all looking down, smiling at all of us. God bless you, and I look forward to the unveiling of the name. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you our Congresswoman, Ms. Bonnie Watson Coleman.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Giving honor to God. And God bless everybody that Gerald Trueheart forgot to mention my name. God is good. To Rose and Sean and Kristen, family, everybody, immediate and extended family. This is an incredible day. If he were here, he'd say, what is going on and why? Because that's how humble he was. This was a man who was a scholar and an athlete. And to the students who are here, this is an inspiration. You have to make sure that you get the education that's going to be afforded you here because Dr. Copeland gave his blood, sweat, tears, and every brain cell so that you would have a school like this and an educational community like this. I am so glad to finally meet the superintendent, and I told him whatever, just tell me whatever. It is good to see the principal. It is good to know that the $2.4 million is on 24. It's on its way. Praise God for the I know that there's so many more things that this administration would like to accomplish on behalf of an education for our children. And Dr. Copeland would be like, go for it. This was a humble man. Rose let me kiss him every Sunday. And I went to church and called him my buddy because he was everybody's buddy. When I think of him, I think of Al Page because they went on their educational journey at the same time. To the Kappas, y'all are beautiful on so many levels. What you give back to the community, how you stand up here on behalf of your brother is just amazing and the inspiration for all of us. Thank you. God bless you. Enjoy this day. It's a made thing, and this school should be named after such a hero of mine.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Watson Copeland. We are very fortunate here at Dr. Crosby Copeland Junior Elementary School to have been almost formally adopted by State Senator Shirley Turner, who has been giving us almost 10,000 books last year, and also this year gave just about every child in the school a book bag full of school materials. So I just want to thank her personally and her team. Is she here? Okay, thank you. Oh, okay, thank you, Senator Turner.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This is more than a good morning. This is an awesome morning.
Yes.
A great day, not just for the city of Trenton, but also for the Copeland family. And to Sean, Christy, Rose, and the grandchildren, we say thank you for sharing Dr. Copeland with us for all the work that he has done. And they say, behind every good man, there's not just a good woman, it's a superwoman, Rose. And we thank you for helping to make Dr. Copeland what he was and what he is still today. And I want to congratulate and salute the Trenton Board of Education and all of those of you who voted to select Dr. Copeland as the honoree in naming this school. It was a long time coming that we changed this name, but it is being done today. We couldn't have selected a more deserving person. Dr. Copeland was not just an icon in the Trenton community, he was a native son, born and raised here. In Central High School, and then returned as the first African-American principal at that high school, and then went on to become the superintendent of this Trenton district. I don't know of anyone else who became a superintendent that was homegrown. So many superintendents, they come and they go. But Dr. Copeland was born here, worked here, not just in the school district, but in the community, which we need more educators to do today. He was a leader in our community, being the president of the NAACP and the Trenton Urban League, and the president of Kappa Alpha Psi. So he was a total package. He was everything, and including a wonderful family man and a wonderful religious man. He did it all. So I just want to say thank you all for being here today and paying tribute to someone who is a giant. And we will never forget his enduring legacy. Anytime you walk these halls in this school that's named after Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr., you will know that all of these students who come through this school and the people who walk by this school will come to emulate and mirror the conduct and work and value education the way he did. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you, Senator Turner. It's my pleasure at this particular point to introduce to you Ms. Verlina Reynolds Jackson, New Jersey State Assemblywoman.
Good morning, everyone. I want to give an honor to God for being here today before you all as your representative for the state for the 15th Legislative District. You know, today we say thank you. Thank you to the family for allowing us to be here to elevate his name so that it can continue on for many, many years. I think when you think about it, it's important to say you have the Congresswoman here, you have your state representatives here, you have your county reps here, and you have your mayor here. We have all of you here. This man did monumental things for our community. But when you think about his journey, when you think about from student to superintendent to getting your name on the school, only God be the glory. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being an inspiration to us all. Thank you. I've been on this journey for 10+ years. I was on Trenton City Council, and a good friend of mine, Baye Kennedy, said, what can we do to elevate our people in this community? And I talked to Mr. Trueheart, I talked to several superintendents, several board presidents, several teachers, administrators, students, but here we are today. Again, to God be the glory. Let's continue to celebrate us as Black people, continue to celebrate our education, continue to celebrate all the things we do in the community. Let's elevate and come together, because when we do, this is what happens. And so I say thank you. We are tremendously grateful to you all. Thank you, Mr. Rosenberg, for allowing us to be here. And I say to you again, welcome to Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. Elementary School.
Thank you, Assemblywoman. Certainly inspiring. At this particular point, we're going to have a musical selection, Blue Bossa with Norberto Diaz and Vincent Pucciati, okay, with a short musical interlude. Thank you, Aaron. And thank you, Mr. Diaz. Okay, outstanding recital there.
Appreciate it. This particular point, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce to you the Province Pole March of the Northeastern Province of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, Inc. And that is Mr. Christopher J. Tompkins. Welcome.
When I talked to my wife this morning to let her know I was coming to a ribbon cutting ceremony for my fraternity brother, Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. She said to me, well, you know you like to talk, so let me remind you, whenever you have a speaking engagement, be brief, be brave, and be quiet. I'm gonna make sure I don't make a liar out of myself. So I'm gonna do that. As I was driving from Newcastle, Delaware to Trenton, I passed a bridge, and the bridge said, what Trenton makes, the world takes. If you believe that, say, oh yeah! If you believe that, say, oh yeah! Before I continue, let me just say, my name is Christopher Tompkins. I am the 28th Northeastern Province Polemarch, and I bring you greetings on behalf of the 34th Grand Polemarch, Reuben A. Shelton III, Esquire. I do want to recognize just a couple of folks with a certain color jacket that's in the room today. Brother Copeland. Our Senior Province Vice Polemarch, Des Sanchez. The Central Region Alumni Board Member, Honorable Harold George. And for those who are interested in knowing what the white jackets represent, if a brother has a white jacket, it's because they've reached at least 50 years in Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. And Dr. Copeland had one of those jackets as well. Dr. Copeland was a 1953 edition of the Grambling State University chapter, the Gamma Psi of Kappa Alpha Psi. And he was the chapter Polemarch at his undergraduate chapter. He was the chapter Polemarch of Trenton alumni. He received achievement awards across the Northeastern Province. One of the things that he was most proud of that his son shared with me was that he was financial with Kappa Alpha Psi since 1953. That's what I was. And having said that, I just want to make sure I recognize Brother Copeland, Ms. Rose, your family. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to be here. It is our pleasure because one of the tenets of Kappa Alpha Psi is achievement in every field of human endeavor. And if this is not a perfect example, I don't know what is. Thank you for having an opportunity to speak. We look forward for the rest of the ribbon cutting ceremony. And thank you to our brother for all the things he's done for the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tompkins. This particular point, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the president of the Trenton Education Association, Mr. Lethia.
Good morning, everyone. I bring greetings on behalf of the Trenton Education Association and my members. When I was originally asked to speak today, no matter how many times you do this, you still get the little nerves, but I do have a great story. When I was a young lad going through the Trenton Public School System, Dr. Copeland was the superintendent. And I remember in second grade, my teacher went out on maternity leave. Her name was Miss Pawanda. And we got this substitute teacher that was a male, and at the time that wasn't common. And the principal came in and said, you all better be on your best behavior because that's the superintendent's son. And Dr. Copeland's son was my substitute teacher in second grade when my teacher went on maternity leave at her school. Not the brother, your brother. Yes, so I just want to say, it's always a great time when we can rewrite history and change the name of our people that have oppressed us in our public school buildings. I think it's very fitting that Columbus School be one of the first schools to be renamed. I did serve on the committee. Mr. Earl stated that there were lots and lots of people. It was 43 to be exact, and 41 for Wilson. So we did spend time and we meticulously looked over everyone's achievements and accomplishments. And I'm so glad that we were able to be a part of it. And I just want to say congratulations to the Copeland family. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of the legacy and the impact that your dad left on the community, as evidenced by the people in this room. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. It was wonderful. It's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you Ms. Monica Carmichael, the Trenton Association of School Administrators President.
Good morning. Good morning. In my other role, I serve as the Director of the Office of Early Childhood for Trenton Public School District, so we have to get our energy going as I work with little ones every single day here in the city of Trenton. So I'd like to say congratulations to the Copeland family. Congratulations to you. I personally knew Dr. Copeland, so it is truly an honor for me to be here before you today, speaking on behalf of the Trenton Administrators and Supervisors Association, otherwise known as TASA. So TASA consists of principals, supervisors, coordinators, vice principals, and directors as myself. So I'm honored to be here with you. Dr. Copeland was dedicated. He was passionate. He was a focused instructional leader as a vice principal, as well as the principal. But we are very proud of him because not only was he a building administrator, he rose above and became the superintendent of Trenton Public School District. Again, the superintendent of Trenton Public School District. He was strong in his leadership in the community. I know personally seeing him myself in the community, he let me know the possibilities for myself to stand here before you today. As a child, we look at our role models in the community to help us know that we too can rise above. I'd like to share with you an excerpt from the Trenton Central High School yearbook. These are actually words from Dr. Copeland, and I feel that although he wrote these 35 years ago, it's true for our children today in the city of Trenton. This passage in the principal's message reads as follows. Only one citizen may become president of the United States every 4 years. But just about everybody in Trenton Central High School could be a success in 1,000 different ways if he or she put his or her mind to it. Millions of students have talents they never develop and abilities that are never put to use. This is our Dr. Copeland. Our aim as teachers, he said, and educators, is to challenge the students to get out of the large mass of just average into the small bracket of excellence. Our hope is that we have strengthened your determination to move up into the class of superior performers who are going to reap most of the honors, provide most of the leadership, occupy the best positions, and make the most significant contribution to the wider community in the future. As he told them, as listed on the back of this program that Mr. Trueheart so eloquently shared, keep striving for excellence. No effort is wasted. Little by little, you will soon get closer to the right way, to the higher skill, to the superior performance, to success, and to happiness. He wished them good luck as they moved into their journey. And so I'd like to say, on behalf of the Trenton Administrators and Supervisors Association, we congratulate the family. But most importantly, we congratulate the community because we have a building that represents excellence, named after Dr. Copeland.
Thank you so much, Monica. It's my pleasure at this particular time to introduce the Director of Special Projects, Mr. Mary Reese. Thank you so much for coming.
Good morning. Good morning. I too was an elementary principal. We would sing and laugh and wish each other a happy day. So it's really a pleasure to be here. I represent the New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association. I'm here as a former principal, an NJPSA staff member who has worked for many, many years in Trenton with educators and leaders. But particularly as one of the first members of NJPSA. In the late 70s, as the principal of Trenton Central High School, Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. was the driving force behind the merger of the New Jersey Secondary Principals Association and the New Jersey Elementary and Middle School Administrators Association. As the president of the Secondary Association, Crosby was instrumental in providing the leadership to forge both organizations. NJPSA longtime attorney Bob Schwartz commented, if Crosby hadn't supported the move, it wouldn't have happened. As superintendent, Dr. Copeland encouraged the district's administrators to become active in NJPSA. He was a strong supporter of professional development. He believed that his principals, his assistant principals, his supervisors, and his teachers needed to learn from experts and other leaders throughout New Jersey to inform Trenton to infuse innovative ideas and practices. As a result, there is a long history of Trenton administrators' involvement in NJPSA. Gloria Jean Tunstall was our president. She and Lynn Robinson were NJPSA board members. Monica Taylor was very active. Addie Daniels Lane. Kim Page and Zebby Belton. Many activities in our organization. A few years ago, our dear Monica Carmichael was our Visionary Award winner of the year. Or active members of NJPSA committees, such as Roberto behind us. At NJPSA, we have another very important connection. Our office manager, Stacy Barksdale Jones, is a TCHS class of 1983 grad. I've known Stacy since she came to us as a high school co-op student, and thankfully she never left us. Stacy's thoughts, Dr. Copeland held and continues to hold great respect from Trentonians who walk the halls of TCHS. He knew us all by name and took time to make sure that each of us was okay. My graduating class was one of the largest, 700 plus students. Dr. Copeland left an indelible mark on our entire school community. On behalf of NJPSA, I'm appreciative of Dr. Copeland's vision and advocacy. Without him, there would not have been a New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association. And certainly we wouldn't have benefited from the wisdom, the guidance, and the friendship we have gained from involvement of so many wonderful Trenton school and district leaders. I salute the memory of Dr. Copeland for his support of his colleagues and students. As Jack Welch commented, before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Indeed, Dr. Copeland was a principal's principal. It's my pleasure at this particular point to introduce to you the president of the Trend Literacy Movement, Mr. Edward Bullock. Thank you so much. I got a compliment on this jacket. Good news about this jacket is you've got to be in the fraternity for 50 years. The other news is you cannot gain a pound after you get this jacket. A week in preparation. But when I leave here, I am so honored, and I'll start off with saying, I've been to the house. I've dined at the house. I've been in the basement. I've seen in the basement 1, 2, 25, 30 plaques, achievement awards. I'm talking about that house on Lanning, the Copeland house. You couldn't walk into the basement and not say, wow, if that's what he did, I gotta get busy. So since 1972, I've been trying to get busy. I got a few plaques, but I got a whole lot more to go. But I got to compliment Mrs. Rose Copeland. Imagine, you've got a fraternity meeting the first week of the month on a Saturday. And you are the chief cook, bottle washer for 50 minutes. Coming to your home to eat your best New Orleans style fried chicken gumbo and whatever else you got. And some probably stayed for grits and cheese and shrimp in the morning. That was the house on Lanning. And I can tell you about that house, but I know I have a short amount of time because we were told that we can only speak for 3 minutes. So this is where I need your help. Pull out your programs, I'll be quick. But I do need you to take a look at your programs because I had to do this last night and again this morning. Count with me, please, all the dots. 1, 2, 3. Come on, count with me. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Those are all the speakers that came before me. All we're gonna want to do is cut the ribbon. But here's the good news. We were all told we could only speak for 3 minutes. So I did the count. First person spoke for 1.5 minutes. Thank you, Reverend Armstrong, about 2 minutes. Thank you so much, Superintendent. Maybe 2.5 minutes. But as I did my count, I got 10 extra minutes. I'm not going to take 10 minutes, but just so you know, I got 10 minutes. I am both honored and humbled to be a part of this historic event on August the 30th of 2022. But this is not the only event that took place on August the 30th. Well, it was in 1967 that then Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall was appointed to the Supreme Court Justice on this day in 1967. As I reflect back on that and did my research in preparation for this, I said, well, what were some of his most remarkable quotes? And I found one that I thought might be appropriate for us as we're here today. So I'll read it to you. None of us, this is Thurgood Marshall, none of us got where we are today solely by pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. That's what Thurgood Marshall said. Indeed, Thurgood Marshall was absolutely correct. I'm sure many of us sitting here today got pulled by Dr. Copeland, pushed by Dr. Copeland, or someone like Dr. Copeland pulling us up by our bootstraps. And look where we are today. We're all here recognizing him and his achievements. But I was equally impressed in doing my research of the words of Dean Nitin Noria. Who was Dean Nitin Noria? He was the dean of the Graduate School of Business at Harvard University. And he had the opportunity to rename a prestigious building. And he decided to name it after James Cash, the university's first Black tenured professor, on the occasion of the renaming of a landmark building to the James Cash House on the prestigious Harvard University School of Business. And he stated, and this is where it's relevant for us, it is important that members of our community our community. Can I say that one more time? Members of our community, those of us who are here, see themselves in our spaces, and that they can take pride in those whose names define our physical landscape, and that this renaming at Harvard University will reflect our, and this is the important part, our deepest belief that leaders are individuals of not just great competence, or certainly Dr. Copeland was, but also outstanding and impeccable character. Amen. These words of wisdom are certainly applicable to the competence and impeccable character of Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. and provide for me and for us greater clarity as to why, in my humble opinion, this renaming is appropriate and timely, as many institutions across the country are recognizing the demographic shifts, social shifts, historical shifts, and cultural shifts in our society, as well as the desire to continue to be relevant and inclusive. As president of the Trent Leadership Movement Board of Trustees, I would like to acknowledge our chairperson, the Honorable Douglas H. Palmer. Thank you, Doug. And of course, I could not forget, and she said, don't do it, but I'm gonna do it anyway, Miss Jean Tunstall. I can't do it anywhere. I walked into a room with Jean Tunstall, everybody wants her autograph. I said, well, I'm the president, everybody wants her autograph. Thank you, Jean, for 40+ years of service to the Trenton education community and all of those things. I'm pleased to have you on our board as a contributor and something you love for your vision and your foresight. I think I got 5 minutes left. Whoa! Thank you for that. I would now like to recognize those of you who are wearing a 50-year jacket. I'm wearing my 50-year jacket. I chose to wear my 50-year jacket along with many of my brothers who are also here today in their crimson, and can I say that one more time? In their crimson. Just one more time. I know I got 2 minutes left. I'll be quick. In their crimson and a note with us is the oldest member of our chapter, among the oldest living members of our fraternity, Sam Floyd. Was found in that robbery at 96 years young, right off the bat. To be a part of this historic event, Dr. Floyd believes that his faith in God and his designer genes have contributed to his longevity. Dr. Floyd is a retired educator. I would ask all the members of our fraternity, thank you, Colemark and Grant, for coming down and helping us out. Please stand for a moment, see if you recognize. Thank you so much. I've got 2 seconds left. And those 2 seconds belong to the family. I would like to thank you, Rose, Sean, and the family of our dear brother, the late Dr. Crosby Copeland, for loaning him to us for so many years. I would like to thank the Trenton Public School Renaming Committee for their foresight and their vision, and the Board of Trustees of the Trenton Leadership Movement for this opportunity given to me to speak on their behalf. The Trenton Leadership Movement went one step further. We provided these for you at our own cost. So if you can contribute to our fundraising, we appreciate it. So each of you, please make sure you get one of these on the back. You'll find out information about the Trenton Leadership Movement. I believe I've got 30 seconds left. I yield that back to the committee. Thank you so much. It's hard to follow some of these guys. It really is. I have no time left. None. It's been my pleasure over the last month or so to be working closely with Sean Copeland. What a honor it has to have met you, gotten to know you, we've gotten to know each other, and been introduced to the family and see it more deeply. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Sean Copeland. Thank you, everyone. Give me a second, I need to make a note to myself not to follow Ed Bullock in the future. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sean Copeland. I'm the youngest son of Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. I would like to first start by acknowledging my family who's here today. My mother, Rose Copeland, is a retired school teacher for the Trenton Public School District. She and my father met in college and were together almost 70 years before he passed. He was the person who helped push my father forward in his career, even when there were periods when he questioned his readiness. I'd also like to introduce my wife, Christy, my partner in crime for 25 years. My son today. Unfortunately, my daughter Courtney couldn't be here with us today because she just started her freshman year at Howard University down in Washington. For all my other family members here, please stand. Be acknowledged. The other day I was talking to my mom and I said, Mom, I need some 7-syllable word to describe how we're feeling today. And I looked at her and she said, Sean, I'm feeling proud. Simple word, but I couldn't think of anything that was more fitting. My dad was an amazing man, a friend, father. I learned a lot just by watching his interaction with people. He treated everyone with the same level of respect, kept a smile on his face, and was always looking to inject a little humor into conversations. When I first started to jot down my thoughts, I didn't think that I was the right person to tell you about how great of a principal or superintendent he was, because I never saw that side of him. I didn't think that I was the right person to tell you about how he could power a fastball over the fence at any baseball field, or about how ferocious he was on a football field, because again, I didn't see that side of him. Those stories were all shared to me by other people. However, as I started thinking about some of the stories that were told to me by former students and classmates, there were many, I realized that their memories had similar themes to the things I remember about my dad. For example, when my father passed last year, I got a call from a guy who graduated from Trenton High in the 70s and currently lives in Texas. The man who I'll call John said that his parents worked long hours and they were never home when he arrived from school. John started hanging in the streets, started drinking with the kids on the block and selling marijuana. He said that he had started to go down this bad path and had contemplated not finishing school. So one day when John came home, his principal, my father, was sitting on the couch in the living room and talking to his dad. My father had noticed a decline in John's performance in the classroom. He went on to tell this young man and his father about how John
had been a promising student up until that year, so he was concerned and wanted to know if anything had changed. He asked his father if John could hang around after school to get some additional help with tutors, and eventually had him doing odd jobs around the school before he went home. You see, my dad had his ear to the streets, and he knew what John was doing after school. So he found ways to occupy him so that he didn't have time to hang out in the corner. John eventually went on to graduate from high school and college, and is now a successful corporate executive in charge of supplier chain management for his company. Even though it sounds like a small thing, John told me that that encounter changed his life. He just needed to know that someone cared about him. He also attributed his relationship with my dad as the reason he joined our illustrious fraternity. Ironically, I met another man at my job who had a very similar story. Several of my dad's teammates mentioned that they were more confident when he was on the field because they knew whatever happened on or off the field, he had their back, and there was no one else that they'd rather be in the trenches with. My dad had a tough exterior, but was always supportive. He was strong and fit, so even in his later years, he commanded your attention and respect. There was always that fear of making him angry or disappointing him, so I did whatever I could in my power not to cross that line. He was old school, so he didn't hug much, didn't show a lot of affection, but I knew that he would run through a brick wall for me. And for a child, that meant the world to me. It let me know that whatever I set my sights on, he was right there with me to help me navigate through life's challenges. It gave me the confidence to go out and try to conquer the world. I realized that even though the road that I took was a little different than John's, we were impacted in several ways and motivated by the love, support, and attention that he gave to us. It was at that moment that I realized that I am the right person to tell you that he was a great educator. He was a great principal. He was a great superintendent, and he was a great father. My dad grew up on Sheridan Avenue, a couple of blocks down the road from the Trenton Board of Education building. He went on to Grant Elementary School, the New Lincoln Middle School, then graduated from Trenton Central High School, where he was an honor roll student and lettered in 3 sports. He continued his education at Grambling State University in Louisiana, where he played football for the legendary Hall of Fame coach Eddie Robinson. He became captain of the football and baseball teams in his senior year. He started teaching shortly after in Louisiana, but he decided that there was more work that needed to be done here in his hometown. So he came back to Trenton, where he would continue his education and work until he retired. As I mentioned at his funeral, he loved Trenton and all the people here. He wanted to ensure that the kids here were well prepared and ready to compete in the world ahead of them. He was proud of this city. I wish he and my brother were alive today to see the love and admiration that this city is showing Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. today. This is truly an honor to have this beautiful elementary school named after him. Some of the other schools in the district were named after Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., one of the greatest civil rights leaders in American history, Gladys Hedgepeth, Bernadine Williams, who fought for the integration of Junior 2 middle school and who actually became a legal precedent for the Brown versus Board education decision, and Patton J. Hill, who was one of the first African-American principals in Trenton to lead the integration of a new middle school in the Trenton Public School District. To be added to such an esteemed list, in my opinion, is the greatest sign of respect that anyone could ever receive from the city and the school district. I would also like to congratulate the McKnight family for the renaming of the Wilson Elementary School to the Darlene McKnight. As I know just how elated and proud they are. One thing that I would like to ask is that we do not remove Christopher Columbus and Woodrow Wilson from the district's history. It is important for our students and residents to know this school's history and why the names were ultimately changed. Our family and I would like to thank all of our elected officials and dignitaries for being here today, many of whom were my dad's longtime friends. We want to thank the Trenton Public School District, our pastor, Darrell Armstrong of Shiloh Baptist Church, our dear friends, Reverend Ethan Evans of the Grace Community Church, retired State Police Lieutenant John Day, all the members of the Divine Nine, our Northeastern Province Promoter, Brother Chris Tompkins and Brother Ted Sanchez, and our brothers from the Trenton Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, and of course our Kappa Knights sitting behind them. Also want to thank Trenton Literacy Movement, my co-workers from Bank of America, and all of my dad's former students and co-workers for their support. I also want to give a big shout out to Principal Michael Rosenberg, Monica Carmichael, and their awesome committee for coordinating this amazing ceremony. It was a lot of work, and I truly appreciate your guidance, creativity, and leadership. And last but not least, there are two individuals who I would like to give a special thanks to. These gentlemen contacted me the day that they found out that Trenton School Board was looking to rename two of their schools, and they told me, they didn't ask me, that we're submitting the name Dr. Crosby Copeland Jr. First person is my brother, Gary Gray. Like my dad, I too keep my ear to the streets. And I heard this term called day one, meaning someone who has been with you ever since you can remember. Gary's my day one. My dad always referred to him as my brother from another mother, and father for that matter. The second person is Edward Willocks Sr., president of the Trenton Literacy Movement, who not only told me that we were going to submit my dad's name, but even had his letter typed up and addressed when he called me. So both of these gentlemen are my fraternity brothers, an extended part of my family. If I missed any other names or groups, please charge it to the head and not to my heart. Thank you all for being here today. And again, you truly made us an even prouder family. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. As many of you know, I feel very honored and privileged to be here. And you can get a wee bit emotional because I think many of you know I'm from Scotland. I came over here when I was 14 years old. And I've always been raised in a very democratic socialist family. I don't mind telling you that. The equity that is needed in this country and in this community is overwhelming. And listening to you here, Sean, I can't tell you what an honor and a privilege it is to continue my mission to make the biggest difference in the lives of the young people here in this school. So I'll try to get back to my American accent. So this has been a very emotional day. I want to thank the family. I can't thank you enough for the honor of being here and having your father's legacy sustained. I want to thank our committee again, Monica, Denise, Sean, your leadership. And I'd be remiss in not thanking all those hardworking food service workers. Okay, they put together. Thank you for all the good patience back there. I also want to thank our security team, okay, led by our head, Tanya. Be short, be sweet, and be seated. My thanks again to all of you. Have a wonderful day. The ribbon cutting at this time. You still get up.